just in general, in large auditoriums, you see people, kind of looking at the person next to them or writing on tables. I see that a lot. People kind of, writing little notes in pencil on their table before the exam starts. I haven't really seen anything big happen. I mean, I guess one time a kid in another lab class from me copied someone's report, and they were in different sections, but they still handed in the exact same report.
I think the probably most common type of cheating would be homework, because it's a lot easier to get away with. Like, you can do it behind closed doors where the teacher can't really see it or really find out about it if you do it right. And also, since it accounts for a lower percentage of the grade, I think students feel better about doing it for some reason. And I know that I've seen just a ton of times, like, hey, I didn't get the homework, like, can I just copy yours? And people will be like, okay, fine. And happens all the time, like every day.
Okay, just like these guys I know, they are roommates and they have the same class and they let each other like look at their essays. So and like they were both really similar, and then they both got in trouble because the teacher like noticed the similarities, and so they had to go through all those consequences or whatever.
I have on occasion like had a note card kind of like near my stuff, just for stuff that I needed to remember, because I do forget things very easily. So kind of had like a jog your memory card. But all right.
Okay. Well, I know of some ways where if you have like an online course, maybe math, Spanish, and you can get around having to answer the questions honestly, you can just kind of allow the computer to answer for yourself, Yeah. So.
I got cycle through the questions and I've done it.
So that's. I'm not saying that I did it.
But you know that it's happening.
I know it's happening.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I don't approve of it. I'm not going to go into an exam and jot down notes before. I mean, I'm not going to turn them in because, I think that they're not getting anything from the class by obviously cramming, not knowing their information, and then, cheating. So they're hurting themselves at the end of the day.
So that's why you don't think it's okay to cheat, because you're hurting yourself by the end of the day?
Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's unfair to the people who actually are trying, because, then, for instance, if you cheat and you make 100 on that exam, then you could potentially ruin a curve for everybody else in the class who really did study.
I think it probably varies a lot, but, I mean, for the most part, I'm in honors classes, and for the most part, people usually look down on people that cheat. Like, they see that as like bad behavior, and if you're cheating, people are like, oh, well, he's not smart enough to do it on his own, and they just view you as maybe unintelligent or less moral than they are.
Well, you said something about people do it all the time, cheating on homework and stuff, because it's not really that big of a grade. So you think it's okay? You think that a lot of people think it's okay to cheat on homework?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do, or I wouldn't see it as often as I do.
I think that students think that it's okay, and like the main reason that deters them is like the consequences of like how they're cracking down on us. But I don't think they think it's a big deal, and that just because like they don't want to put in the work, so that's why I think it's okay. But
so it's okay as long as you don't get caught, basically, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what you think a lot of people think.
Yeah.
About it.
I think we all know that it's not right, technically, but as a college student, you do understand that you have a lot to do and a little time to do it. And sometimes, if you can do something without having to put in all of your brain power and all of your thought power into it, then it's easier on you. It keeps down stress and it keeps up productivity. It helps you out a lot.
Right.
I'll pretty much say the same thing. If it's time consuming, you have other things to do that might be, more important or significant, you just kind of, let's just do that. But and if you don't want to use all of your brain power, if you don't want to use all your mental capacity on that, I'm gonna use it for something else that's more important.
I don't know. it's just, everybody views the stuck-up, goody-goody, tell-tattle as it just has a negative connotation. Nobody wants to be that person. And while you really should be.
Where do you think that negative connotation stems from? Why do you think there's a negative connotation with it?
Just, I think in America, I think it starts, in elementary education, just bullying and, being the one who's honest and speaks up. That's just from the get-go. That's how it is. If you, are always reporting back to the teacher, then
you're looked down upon by the rest of the class.
By the people who hold all the power and the ones who do cheat. Because I think at the end of the day, they're insecure, so they get really defensive. And so the people who do try and who do communicate and who are honest, they get picked on.
I think a lot of people just probably think it's not really directly affecting me. It's not like them cheating is hurting my grade. I just do my own thing, and if they want to mess up their own education, that's their deal. And also, nobody wants to be seen as a person who snitches and gets others in trouble. People want to just mind their own business for the most part, I think.
Just for fitting in, they don't want to be the snitch. They're not going to be oh, that person's cheating, I need to go say something. As long as they feel like they're doing their own work, and even if they feel like it's wrong, I don't think they're going to say anything. They only care about their grades, so they're not going to worry about somebody else.
Because that's their business.
It's their business.
Pretty much.
I'm not. Who am I to go to? That's not my concern. And who said I won't have to do it someday?
If it were me, I'd rather you not tell.
I wouldn't want you to tell on me
that I'm doing this.
And I would look like a hypocrite if I go and tell them. Then one day I'm in a predicament I have to do the same thing. Where
Right. I know a lot of students say oh, well, if I'm taking the test honestly, then you should be taking the test honestly. But sweetie, nobody cares how you take the test because while this person is they may be cheating and they may be they may be having an advantage, they also have a disadvantage because if they get caught, then they have a 0 on their test. They're running a risk, so that's their gamble. It's not yours. It's not yours to monitor.
Okay.